Greetings, film fanatics. Filmholmes here, and welcome to another rendition of Line. Too many movies. What? Too many movies. Okay. Too many boobies. No, that's not right. Too many movies. Oh, shit. It's that time again, kiddies. I'm going to talk about another John Carpenter movie that's considered one of his best movies ever. I don't particularly agree, but it doesn't mean that I hate it. I do love this movie very much, but it's not one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. However, it is one of his most memorable. So, this time I'm going to talk about the classic Escape from New York. Let's get to it. So Escape from New York is a great film. It's a great movie, it's a lot of fun, but even though I love watching this movie and I never get tired of watching it, I'm always entertained by it, it's not one that I'll go to, you know, when I'm thinking of John Carpenter movies. Like one I get super excited about, you know, when I'm gonna watch it. You know what I mean? Like it's not a chore. It's a great film. You know, it's still one of his best, but I would put it like probably, you know, fifth best, maybe, like fourth best, I would say. But anyway, the story is basically this. In a post-apocalyptic, you know, United States, or New York, basically, Snake Plissken, played by my man, Kurt Russell, one of my favorite actors, love him to death. I love him as Snake Plissken, and I don't care what they say, and I'm pretty sure they said that they did. This, the character of Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid series, or the Metal Gear video game series, they completely stole Snake Plissken and made Solid Snake. I think they have admitted it, actually, but it's obvious they did. But anyway, and I'm fine with that. But he is recruited to rescue the President of the United States, whose plane crashed in New York. New York now is used as basically a big prison for all of the United States of America, I believe. And the president's plane crashes there, he gets kidnapped, and they're holding him for ransom. And you do not escape New York, basically. And Snake was arrested, but they want to use him and send him in to rescue the president within 24 hours. If he doesn't do it before the president gets to make this big speech to the United Nations, or, you know, he's got a little bomb they put in his neck, it's going to explode, boom, Snake's going to get killed. So he's got to get this done within 24 hours. And that's the story of it. And I'll admit, like, how they make New York and how grungy it is, how dirty, it's very memorable. I love it. I love the sets. I love the backdrops of New York. You know, I mean, some things have changed, like when Snake goes into New York, he actually lands his plane on the top of the World Trade Center. You know, it was a different time, and it's one of those things, like, we should never forget about the World Trade Center and that it was there once. But, you know, back then, we were naive, and we didn't think that the World Trade Centers would just never be here one day, especially because of terrorism. So, that's one little tidbit in this movie that may make some people uncomfortable, but don't let it. You know, they didn't know in 1981 or whenever that was going to happen. But I know how some people are. But, you know, I love the backdrops. I love the setting of this movie. I like post-apocalyptic, and this one does it to where it's not like every other damn movie. I'm sure a lot of movies copied from this, I guarantee it. But it's very well done, and, you know, the stuff that they do, the effects, they had to kind of create a lot of stuff, like the computer system, and a lot of those effects, they didn't use CG. They had to make it look like it was CG before it was CG. So that's really cool, how they pulled that off. And in the extra, the documentaries, they do that. It's not on the Blu-ray. I have the 2-disc special edition DVD. So get that as well if you can. It's not expensive. But John Carpenter, once again, he directs. I believe he also... Yeah, he wrote it with Nick Castle, and I couldn't remember if he was the lone writer or not. And the script is, it's a great adventure. It's a lot of fun. Snake Plissken is a great anti-hero, played perfectly by Kurt Russell. No complaints from me. I love that character. He's cool. You know, he's kind of what every man wants to be. He's a badass. You can't stop him no matter what. He's the underdog, but you know he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. He's in this for himself. He doesn't give a shit about the president. So it's cool. It's just a great anti-hero. And the whole cast is great, from the little minor characters to the main villain played by Isaac Hayes. Was Isaac Hayes? I'd want to get this right, make sure. Isaac Hayes. Donald Pleasance, a lot of people don't know. You know, he's mainly known as Dr. Loomis from the Halloween series, especially from the first two movies that John Carpenter was a part of. But he was also in this. He plays the president, and he does a great job as well. I love Donald Pleasance, so for him to be the president, fucking A. I'm cool with that. And, you know, just like I said, the little side characters are good. The people that Snake meets up with. There's a cab driver that is my favorite character. He's not in it that much, but he's played by one of the best actors, Academy Award winner, and of course I'm going to forget his fucking name, Ernest Borgnine. And it was weird. I'm like, really? They got him to do this? Okay, that's just kind of a low-budget movie, but I respect the fact that he would do this kind of movie, because John Carpenter was still an up-and-coming filmmaker. He wasn't like a Spielberg, you know, so that was pretty cool. So they got a lot of good actors in this. And you believe the characters. It doesn't feel like actors. It feels like the actual characters, which is cool. Even Isaac Hayes does a great job. Doesn't have much dialogue, but he comes off as a great villain. And the story flows well, and it's directed well. The script is solid. But there's still just, when I rewatched it, I love this movie. I love this movie, and I highly recommend it. But I'm not going to lie, like, it's still not one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. The movie I'm going to review after this one, in the next video, I actually love much more than this one, and it's probably not a better film than Escape from New York, but I just like it more. You know, that's just the way it is. But Escape from New York, I still love. It's not a movie that I would pick for my collection as like, oh, I gotta watch a John Carpenter movie. Escape from New York. No, you know, it would be like, oh, I've watched all the other John Carpenter movies. I want to watch Escape from New York, and I'm gonna have a blast watching it. And I respect it for what it is, and you know, I think it's one of John Carpenter's more memorable movies, but not one of his best. It's hard to explain. It's just how I feel. Like, it's just not one of my favorites of his. But still highly recommend if you've never seen it. I mean, Kurt Russell's the man. He's Snake Plissken. That's awesome. He made that character what it is. It became kind of like a little 80s icon in a way. And there were a lot of them in the 80s. But people remember Snake Plissken. Even people who haven't seen Escape from New York, they know who Snake Plissken is. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, you did something right. But very well put together. You know, it's not a masterpiece. It's not a John Carpenter masterpiece like a Halloween or The Thing. But it's still a damn fine movie. So much fun. And it's a thrill ride from the very beginning. You know, it has your attention from the very beginning, in my opinion. And the effects they do were pretty groundbreaking in terms of how they did it. Again, watch documentaries. It's really cool how they pulled it off back then. Because I wonder, I'm like, how did they do this? This isn't computer generated. You know, they didn't have that. So it's neat. But Escape from New York, I give it a 4 out of 5. I think that's pretty fair. It's way above average, but when I rate movies, I rate it on my own personal feelings. Even if the movie, a lot of people, if they say it's not the greatest thing in the world, but I loved it, I'm probably going to give it like a 4, 4.5 sometimes. But Escape from New York, I think a 4 is very fair. Not one of his best, but a damn good movie. Unlike the piece of shit sequel, Escape from LA. I have only seen this turd once. And I hated it. Now, I promise you, probably not this month, I might, but sometime in the near future, I will rewatch this, because the one thing on this show that I haven't really done much of are bad movies. And of course, those reviews are always better because you're going to have more to say as a reviewer when it's bad. I fucking hated this movie. It's just a carbon copy of the first one done shittily, if that's a word, but I'll get to it in the future. to me, it's probably John Carpenter's worst movie, and he's made a couple bad ones. So I promise I'll get to that in the future, and if you comment enough, if you want me to really review this, I will do it this month, okay? So it's up to you guys. But also, I will say, the story of Escape from New York was continued in a comic series called Escape from New York. This is volume 3, which is Escape to New York, ironically. And it's a wonderful comic book series. If you want to continue the story, it takes place right after Escape from New York, like directly after. They ignore Escape from LA because it's a piece of crap. So, and again, if you want more of Escape from New York, get the comics. A lot of fun, great stuff. So, another John Carpenter, classic, Escape from New York. That's how I feel about it. Do watch it, please. It's a great movie. I'm Filmholmes. This was Too Many Movies. As you can see, I got more movies I gotta watch, and I will see you in the next video where I will talk about another John Carpenter movie. Actually, one of my favorites of his, even though I don't think it's a favorite to a lot of people. But I will see you then. Take care.